So we've got 8k squared, this is b, 8k squared minus 16k plus 6. Okay, so the first thing I always look for is what? Yeah, GCF. Do I have one?
Yep.
Yes. What's my greatest common factor? 2. So I'm going to take that out. 2, and what's left? 4k squared minus 8k plus 3. Good. Now, I look at the inside trinomial here, and more specifically, I look at the coefficient of my squared term. Is it 1, or is it something else? It's something else. So what kind of factoring do I know I have to do? Magic number factoring. Okay, let's do that. I mean, it's kind of obvious because all the steps are a little bit. And the section is called 5.3 magic number factoring. Just making sure you're aware of why we're doing that. Okay, so how do I find the magic number? If it helps, just ignore, if the 2 is confusing you, just ignore it for now. We'll put it back in at the end. Okay? What we're concerned about here is just factoring this part. Okay, so I'm just going to erase it for now, but remember that we need to put it back in the end. Okay? So, what's my magic number? 12. Ah, you guys remember. 4 times 3 is 12. There's my magic number. Step 2, what do?
Find factors.
Okay, so I need factors that do what?
Get them to 12.
Multiply to 12 and add to
8.
negative 8. Right? They need to multiply to the magic number, add to get negative 8. Okay, so let's look at our options here. I've got 1 and 12. I've got 2 and 6. And I've got 3 and 4. What am I going to use?
2 and 6.
2 and 6. Okay, so 2 times 6 is positive 12, which is what I want. But 2 plus 6 is positive 8, so how can I deal with that?
Negative.
Make them both negatives. You guys remember, good. Okay, if they're both negative, then things will work out nicely, right? Negative 2 times negative 6 gives me positive 12, that's good. Negative 2 plus negative 6 is negative 8, also good. Okay, so we found our 2 factors. Step 3. Split. What do I split? 8 into what? Negative 2 and negative 6, right? I use the Q that I got from the last step. Everything else stays the same. So I still have 4k squared. That doesn't change. But that 8 splits into 2 terms respective to what my 2 factors were from the last step. So it would be negative 2k minus 6k. And then what's at the end? Plus 3. Follow? Okay, so again, all we've done, we haven't changed the value at all. We've just taken this middle term and we split it in 2 based on our information from the last step. Good? Am I going too slow?
No.
No? Okay. Step 4, 2 groups. How do I create my 2 groups?
You can do first 2 terms and the last 2.
Yeah, the first 2 and the last 2 get paired together. I'm going to make one small modification. Watch this. Okay? I want, let me just go back a page here. You see how we had a plus sign? Sorry, right here. Between those two groups. We still want a plus sign between our 2 groups. That's going to make the factoring a little easier. I'll show you why. Okay? So how do I change this into a plus something? Is that even possible? Is that making sense? No? Maybe I'll just show you. If I went plus negative 6, okay, is that the same thing as going just minus 6k? It's the same thing, right? So I'm going to do that just for the sake of factoring. You'll see why in a moment, okay? So I make my 2 groups, and I want that plus sign in the middle. Okay, I want the plus sign in the middle. Alright, so, step 5, what do? Factor both groups. What can I factor out of the first group?
2k.
2k. And I'm left with
2k squared. 2k.
2k minus 1. Okay, someone else, what can I factor out of the second one?
3.
3. And I'm left with
2.
somebody. Only 2 people know? Come on, guys. What's left?
It's negative 2k.
Negative 2k.
Is that it? Is it plus 1?
I factored 3 out of this.
K.
3 divided by 3.
1.
1.
Okay, that's good.
Plus 1. Do you notice the problem? They're not the same. They have to be the same, right? They're almost the same, except their signs are switched. So how can I make the signs the same?
Switch the 3.
How? Just because I feel like it?
No.
Could I factor something out of here to make this negative 3? What if I divided both of them by negative 1? Factored out negative 1, essentially. Would that work? Or, more simply, let me just back up. What if, instead of doing both of those factorings, what if I just factored negative 3 out of this? Where I divide both terms by negative 3.
Makes sense.
Would that work? That should work, right? Negative 3 goes in front. What's left? Negative 6 over negative 3 is just positive 2k. Positive 3 over negative 3 is negative 1. Are they the same now? These two guys?
Yep.
Now they're the same. Okay? So that's why I suggested suggested splitting that minus sign, the middle minus sign, into a plus negative, so that you're able to do that factoring properly. Does that make sense? Okay, so watch out for that middle sign there. Make sure that it's always a positive. What are my 2 final factors? Somebody give me one of my factors.
2k minus 1.
2k minus 1. And somebody else, the other guy?
2k minus 3.
Good. The coefficients, right? 2k minus 3. That comes from here. 2k and minus 3. Okay, so 2k minus 1 is my one factor. 2k minus 3 is my other factor. And again, we're just skipping some steps. We could show them all, but here it's okay if we skip those steps. We're going to check using what? Foiling. Okay? So go ahead and do it. See if you get the same thing. Okay, so let's just check to make sure this is true really quick. So 2k times 2k is 4k squared. 2k times negative 3 is negative 6k. Negative 1 times 2k is minus 2k. And negative 1 times negative 3 is positive 3. Leaving me with 4k squared minus 8k plus 3.
With a 2 in front.
Yeah, we forgot about that guy. Oh, I forgot about it in step 7. Yeah, we should put the 2 in front here, right? That 2 should also go here. I forgot about that. Okay, don't forget about it here. So this is actually the final answer. The 2 should be in front there. And then we can distribute that 2 in, giving us 8k squared minus 16k plus 6.